Well, folks, looks like today's the day. I think by the time it's upload, it is already. I think the trial is still ongoing. I don't know. I have this video clip from a Tozy. We're gonna react to this. I don't know if I can cover the full trial on the live stream, but that's besides the point. It's gonna take hours for me to do so.
Things like last time, things went awful for Johnny. This time, it went terrible. He even got humiliated in court. I mean, it was really bad from the start. And just to start things off, I'm going to run through the whole trial so you guys kind of get a picture of how things were.
It was worse than his previous trial. Let's recap what we know so far. The first trial, he was caught, I think he pled guilty to 3. And for the deepfake, I don't think he pled guilty on that. And then there's more charges that some he pled guilty, some he didn't plead guilty. We don't know how he's progressing this, but let's see.
Even though you guys weren't there. So there was a few people there. There wasn't that many people this time. But Johnny at 3:59, Johnny's lawyer came in. So right on time for the trial and so on. Then at 4, a woman walked in who apparently was a witness. We didn't know of her. We hadn't seen her. We were assuming that Bong Bong was going to testify today, but apparently not. Then at 4:03, Hank walked in, and that also confirmed that Hank is still associated with Johnny. Then at 4:05, so this is 5 minutes after his trial started, Johnny was still not there. So Hank, he starts panicking and talking to the lawyer, and they don't know where Johnny is. So then Hank has to run out of the courtroom and I guess call Johnny and figure out where this guy is.
Wow, late for the court again, Johnny. Nice job, genius.
So moving on with my notes here, let's see, 1 second. Then we have at 4:07, Johnny then walks in, this time respectfully, in a fitting suit. It seems like Johnny realized how bad things were and finally took the cue and he was like, okay, I'm gonna lock in because clearly things are not going well for him. So then everyone sits down, or everyone stands up, judge walks in, everyone sits down. Okay, court starts. So then at 4:12, Johnny then confirms that he is still a quote unquote student and that he still actually lives at Hank's house. So that's interesting because Hank is going on to say, oh, Johnny does not live with me. I do not help Johnny anymore. I'm not associated with him anymore. Apparently, that's not true. Then
Yeah, that's not true because he was with him every time he live streamed. Proof is in the pudding.
we have the 8 charges that he's currently facing. Right. I have Gabe with me here who's been helping me translate and also find all the location and everything, you know, and so on. So shout out to this man for being here. But essentially, so there's the first charges they talked about were it was the business obstruction charges, and they were related to the buses, correct?
This is the new charge that they announced today. So this is the one that we didn't know for sure, but I predicted was going to be the bus incident on the 27th.
So that was was it 7011 bus, or was it 7013A?
It was 7011 and 7013A.
Okay, and then you had another bus 20. Oh, so it was a 2024 incident. That's why it was bus 2024. Okay,
yes,
so that's okay.
This
right.
That's brand new. I'm listening. Johnny was late, but one thing right, that is come with a perfect fitted suit. That's 1 point for him.
2024.
Okay.
So that's why, that's also why they're adding it to this case, among many reasons, is because it was all around the same time. So they consider this a crime spree.
Okay. And so the first 2 disturbances, so the first bus, that was for playing NK propaganda on the bus. And then the second one was for just text-to-speech donations and just, you know, disturbing the peace on the bus. So
noises and
loud
refusing
noises
to turn it down.
Yes.
Causing a disturbance, and also the live streaming, that in itself they consider to be a disturbance, that, you know, making other people feel uncomfortable if you have your camera. Like right now we're here, we're not putting people in the frame, right? If you're on a bus, you're live streaming other people as well.
Yeah.
So that's considered a disturbance as well.
So then at 4:15, you had that moment where they went, oh, if you change the time, we plead guilty here. And that didn't fully make sense to me.
Hold on a minute. You changed the time and we pled guilty? What is that? Johnny, what do you mean by that? Seriously, folks, tell me, what does it mean? What, it's like he's going to travel back in time? That's a stupid move?
What was that about? Because that was what Johnny's team said.
It's very common for an accusation to have like some small mistake, like it could be a date or a time or a location. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
If you say, no, it wasn't this day, it was that day, it's still a crime. It
Okay.
doesn't matter. But Johnny nitpicks about stuff like this, and the lawyer brought that up as an argument. And so the compromise was: do you admit to everything except the date that this happened? Yes, he admits to everything except for the date. Okay, that's a guilty plea.
Okay, so yeah, then he pled guilty for all the obstruction charges. So all 4 obstruction of business charges, he pled guilty for.
Right.
Then, so because of that plea, then the witness got up and left because they no longer needed her to testify against him, because we're assuming that the witness was one of the workers at Lotte World who witnessed him, disrupt and stop the ride and do all the stuff he did there.
Yeah, when she turned around, I recognized her from the video.
Well, that's pretty new. They recognize. I wonder, would Johnny Somali even do, or this case, he would put his tongue out? Honestly, seriously, I think they would just get a smack. Is it legal to smack someone when they do that?
100%, I recognize her from the video.
Okay, so then you had the whole deepfake charges. So the lawyer then said that Johnny was intoxicated. So they used him being intoxicated as an excuse for why he distributed those.
Their number one argument is that, this was his lawyer finally making an argument, which they've been asking him to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what you're supposed to do in court.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying, oh, I gave you the evidence, or oh, I'll tell you later. But finally they got him to make an argument, and his number one argument was he did not produce the deepfakes, even though I think he probably did. Mm-hmm. He did not produce the deepfakes, all he did was to distribute them. So you admit to distributing them.
Right. Okay. So that's essentially what happened.
Seriously, Johnny? You said you did not produce the deepfake, but you admit to distribute? They're the same thing. Numbnuts. I think this kind of thing should be an example. Seriously, if other nuisance streamers won't learn from this, I don't think they will survive. You remember Tanner Cook? How do you think that ended up?
Yeah.
But he is insisting on a not guilty plea. So it looks like his lawyer or somebody was able to convince him that the Lotte World charge was a lost cause. Mm-hmm. And so that's what Johnny gave.
Interesting.
Guilty plea, changing the plea from not guilty to guilty for Lotte World.
Yeah.
But insisting on not guilty for the deep fakes.
Okay. And then that's when a new dialogue started, because that's when the prosecution wanted to bring in witnesses for the deepfakes, and Johnny's lawyer did not want witnesses involved at all.
Right.
So then, what happened after they didn't want witnesses? What did the judge say, and how was the reaction of the court then?
Okay, that is a scummy move. You don't want witnesses. I mean, shouldn't there be witnesses when it comes to deepfake, folks? Everything. I'm not a lawyer myself, but I mean, you still need a witness, don't you?
And how was the reaction of the court then?
This was interesting. Since he got overruled when he tried to block the witnesses.
Yeah.
They do not want Bong Bong to testify. They don't want Yongman. They don't want either of them to testify. That's
okay.
Clear. We know.
Yeah.
We know. We've known that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, he was actively in court trying to block them, and he was overruled on that.
Okay.
But since they're having the witnesses, the lawyer requested more time than usual.
Okay.
To examine them.
So
why?
What's a normal time to examine someone, you think?
It depends on the case, and then all that, they'll set it, and for this they set 15 minutes for the defense for the lawyer.
Wow, a lot of question for Johnny. Unbelievable, folks. That is, wow. I don't think the judge is going to be happy, Johnny Somali.
To interview the
okay.
witnesses. They set 15 minutes, and since he couldn't block it, he wanted more time with the witnesses, which means if they can't block the witnesses, they really want to grill them. So he might be planning on going all in on Bong Bong.
Oh, wow. Okay, so is it Johnny's lawyer that's grilling Bong Bong, or the prosecution that's grilling Bong Bong?
It'll be first the prosecution for 15 minutes, and then next is Johnny's lawyer for 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then the judge might ask some questions as well.
And then you have another witness as well. So it'll be times 2, essentially.
Exactly.
2 times 2. That is all. I wonder how Johnny's gonna get out of this mess. What do you think, folks? How do you think he's gonna get out of this mess?
Another times 2 because they're gonna do a translation for everything.
Oh,
so
wow.
So that making it twice as long. Yeah.
Okay. And that's happening in October. And then other than that, so then you had what were the minor crimes charges? Were they ever brought up during this case or trial?
That is settled that the plea is guilty.
Okay.
So minor crimes, and now we can say obstruction of business. The plea is guilty for 6 charges.
Okay. Interesting. And so overall, how was Johnny's lawyer?
Flustered, definitely out of his depth. I kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah.
I know he was pressured by Hank's family.
Pressured by Hank's family, that is brand new. I did not know about that. The lawyer probably doesn't have any experience on this. Here we go. I like to see how Johnny's gonna scurry his way out of this.
Be a part of this case, and I think he's trying to do his best to balance between Johnny and normalcy.
Yeah.
Normal, like, sane, actual normal procedure.
Yeah. And how is the prosecution handling this case, you feel like?
I mean, obviously very professional.
Okay.
Right.
So would you consider them to be pretty aggressive on this case, or how would you rate it?
Yes, I would say today they were aggressive on it. The paradox is, how can you simultaneously admit to having distributed, which is the crime that it's accused of, and insist on this not guilty plea?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's just, it's thinking, the more I think about it, the crazier it is. But
Yeah.
that's what we just witnessed.
Wow.
Is this lawyer using Johnny's argument,
Yeah.
saying basically,
Interesting.
I didn't make it, so I'm not guilty. Even though, again, I think he did.
He did, because remember, he said that he didn't make it, he just distributed it. Yes, it may be different, but you still distributed, which that will count as a crime, Johnny Somali.
And also, like, the whole charge is for the distribution. So they're like, oh, we didn't make it. I did distribute it, though. But I was drunk. That's essentially what we're seeing unfold.
Yes, that's the mental gymnastics that we saw happen today. Lawyer was very flustered, turning red, stuttering. I don't think he has a natural stutter like Hank, but he does have a strange way of talking.
Yeah.
But,
Okay, this is where we stop. Wow. Okay, first off, I would kudos to the judge. I feel sorry for the lawyer that has to represent Johnny Somali. I mean, this is embarrassing for that lawyer. Not only was his out of his depth, but he has to represent someone who denies his wrongdoing. Clearly he didn't. We've seen the footage. He did make those deepfakes.
he definitely seemed very uncomfortable.
Interesting. Did the judge give any reaction to this, or was he confused, or how was the judge reacting to this?
The judge, as usual, is very, sort of above everything, above the fray, and was very calm and very patient with the process. But he's also the one who said, no, you cannot block these witnesses, and no, you cannot extend your, interview time with them.
Right.
Cross-examination.
Wow. Do you have any other overall thoughts on this trial?
That was crazy. That was just insane.
And
Just all this stuff, there's so much stuff that's just unprecedented.
I went to Korea, okay? Honestly, and by that time, Johnny Somali was still there, and I look at his footage, but I can't tell where he was. There were some signs, but it's too blurred out. It's hard for me to know where on Korea he was in, because I think I was in Myeongdong or somewhere. Choji, I don't remember. So far, when I was visiting Korea, I never did encounter Johnny Somali. I didn't see him, because I know by the time I reached Korea, I know he was there. I didn't see him. Dodge the bullet. Honestly, I think he is laying low. Right now, that was a crazy trial, and they have another trial probably on October. Court trial can take times. Hopefully, this could set an example to every nuisance streamers to think twice. I mean, we should have made this an example, not just in South Korea, but in other countries. How many people are still doing the same thing? You remember, I'm certain every one of you remember Tanner Cook. His prankster got himself shot. Yes, it did happen.
Well done, Griffin. Now we got this airfield secured, we can get a foothold on this island and start pushing the Japanese back. We're through retreating, lad. America's back in this war.